Marcus Chen adjusted his black security uniform and checked his earpiece for the third time that morning. The Terran diplomatic station buzzed with activity around him as workers prepared for the most important day in human history. Today, aliens would officially meet with Earth's leaders for the first time. The station hung in orbit above Earth, like a giant metal wheel. Through the massive windows, Marcus could see his home planet turning slowly below. Blue oceans and white clouds looked peaceful from up here. It was hard to believe that in a few hours, everything would change forever. Marcus was 24 years old and worked as a security contractor. His job was to keep people safe during important meetings. He was good at it because his mother had taught him well. Colonel Sarah Chen was a famous Marine who had fought in 3 wars. She always told Marcus to watch for danger and trust his gut feelings. "Chen, you ready for this?" asked Jake Martinez, his partner. Jake was older and had been doing security work for 10 years. He seemed nervous today, which was unusual for him. "As ready as anyone can be for meeting aliens," Marcus replied. He looked around the main hall where the ceremony would take place. Everything had to be perfect. One mistake could ruin humanity's chance to join the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire was sending their representatives today. Marcus had studied their files for weeks. They were tall, elegant beings with blue-gray skin and large eyes. Their technology was hundreds of years ahead of Earth's. They could travel between stars and had weapons that could destroy planets. But they also had strict rules about honor and respect. The most important visitor was Princess Veltara of House Kethmore. She was third in line to rule the Zephyrian Empire. The files said she was smart, brave, and skilled in both fighting and diplomacy. She was only 26 in human years, but aliens lived much longer than humans. Marcus walked through the hall one more time, checking every door and window. The human diplomats were nervous. Earth's president would be here, along with leaders from every major country. If this meeting went well, humans might get access to amazing technology. If it went badly, the aliens might decide humans were too dangerous to exist. At noon, the Zephyrian ships appeared. Marcus watched through the window as 3 silver vessels approached the station. They moved without sound through space, their hulls shining like mirrors. The largest ship was beautiful in a way that made Marcus's chest feel tight. Human ships looked like metal boxes compared to these graceful crafts. The docking bay filled with guards and diplomats as the alien ship connected to the station. Marcus took his position near the main entrance. His job was to watch for threats, while the VIPs greeted each other. It should have been simple and boring work. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Princess Veltara stepped out first, and Marcus understood why she was considered royalty. She was tall and moved like a dancer. Her skin was the color of storm clouds, and her eyes were bright silver. She wore flowing robes that seemed to change color as she walked. Behind her came 12 Zephyrian guards in dark armor. President Williams stepped forward to greet the princess. "Your Highness, welcome to Terran space. We are honored by your visit." The princess bowed slightly. When she spoke, her voice was musical. "President Williams, thank you for this invitation. The Zephyrian Empire hopes this meeting will begin a long friendship between our peoples." Marcus watched the ceremony from his post. Everything seemed normal. The aliens and humans exchanged gifts and made speeches about peace and cooperation. Photographers took pictures, diplomats smiled and shook hands carefully, but something felt wrong. Marcus could not explain it, but his mother's training made him notice small details. Some of the Zephyrian guards stood in odd positions. They were too spread out, like they were setting up fields of fire instead of protecting someone. A few carried weapons that looked different from the others. Marcus activated his earpiece. "Control, this is Chen. I'm seeing some unusual positioning in the alien security detail." "Copy that, Chen. Are you seeing a direct threat?" Marcus studied the guards again. They looked professional and alert. Maybe he was being paranoid. This was the most important day in human history. Of course, he was nervous. "Negative. Control. Just keeping eyes open." The ceremony continued. Princess Veltara spoke about her empire's desire for peace. She explained that her people had been watching Earth for many years. They were impressed by human determination and creativity. The Zephyrian Empire wanted to offer humanity partnership instead of conquest. "Your species shows great promise," the princess said. "You have survived many challenges on your world. You work together despite your differences. These qualities are rare in the galaxy." Marcus felt proud hearing those words. Humans had problems, but they also had strengths. Maybe they really could be partners with these advanced aliens. As the speeches ended, everyone moved to the dining hall for a banquet. This was where different foods from both worlds would be shared. Marcus and the other security personnel took new positions around the large room. The dining hall was decorated with flags from both Earth and the Zephyrian Empire. Tables were arranged in a large circle so everyone could see each other. Human and alien diplomats sat together, talking through translators about their worlds and cultures. Marcus noticed the odd guards again. They had moved to new positions that covered all the exits. One stood near a service door that should have been locked. Another had positioned himself behind a pillar that gave him a clear view of the head table where Princess Veltara sat. His mother's voice echoed in his memory. "Trust your instincts, Marcus. If something feels wrong, it probably is." Marcus keyed his earpiece again. "Control, I need to report a possible security concern." Before Control could respond, Marcus saw one of the guards reach inside his armor. The movement was small and quick, but Marcus knew what it meant. Someone was drawing a weapon. Time seemed to slow down. Marcus saw the guard's hand emerge with a sleek black device. He saw the guard raise it toward the head table. He saw Princess Veltara laughing at something President Williams had said, completely unaware of the danger. Marcus started running toward the head table. His mouth opened to shout a warning, but he knew he would be too late. The weapon was already pointing at the princess. In seconds, the first alien visitor to Earth would be dead, and humanity would be blamed for her murder. Everything depended on what happened in the next few moments. Marcus ran faster than he had ever run before. The dining hall seemed huge suddenly, like he was trying to cross an entire city. The guard with the weapon turned slightly, and Marcus saw his face clearly for the first time. This was not a real Zephyrian guard. The features were wrong, and his eyes held the cold look of someone ready to kill. "Gun!" Marcus shouted as loud as he could. "Princess, get down!" The fake guard heard Marcus's warning and spun toward him. The weapon in his hand glowed with purple energy. Marcus had read about Zephyrian plasma weapons in the security briefings. They could cut through metal and would definitely kill a human instantly. Princess Veltara looked up at Marcus's shout, confusion on her face. She did not understand the danger yet. President Williams started to stand up from his chair. The other diplomats looked around in panic, not sure what was happening. More fake guards throughout the hall drew their weapons. Marcus counted at least 6 of them. They had planned this attack carefully, positioning themselves to kill the princess and as many humans as possible. When it was over, they would claim that humans had betrayed the peace talks. Marcus reached the head table just as the first guard fired his weapon. A beam of purple light shot through the air where Princess Veltara's head had been a moment before. Marcus slammed into her, knocking her off her chair and onto the floor. His shoulder hit the table hard, sending plates and glasses flying. "Stay down," he yelled, covering her body with his own. "Do not move." The second shot hit Marcus in the back. Pain exploded through his body like being struck by lightning. The plasma beam burned through his uniform and into his skin. He could smell his own flesh burning, but he did not move away from the princess. Around the hall, chaos erupted. The real security guards were drawing their weapons and taking cover. Human diplomats dove under tables. Some of the Zephyrian guards who were loyal to the princess were fighting the fake ones. Purple light beams crossed the air like deadly fireworks. Marcus felt another shot hit his arm. This time he screamed, but he still did not move. Princess Veltara was safe beneath him. And that was all that mattered. She was trying to say something, but the sounds of battle drowned out her words. Then something amazing happened. The humans in the hall did not just hide and wait for security to save them. A waiter grabbed a metal tray and threw it at one of the fake guards, hitting him in the head and making him miss his shot. A diplomat picked up a heavy candlestick and smashed it into another attacker's weapon. President Williams pulled out a small pistol that Marcus had not known he was carrying. The president was old and had never been in the military, but he fired 3 quick shots that dropped one of the fake guards. His aim was perfect. 2 kitchen workers came running from the service door carrying knives. They were not trained fighters, but they moved like a team. One distracted a fake guard while the other stabbed him from behind. It was brutal and effective. Marcus watched all of this through waves of pain. The humans were not panicking like the attackers had expected. Instead, they were fighting back with whatever they could find. They worked together without anyone giving orders, like they had planned this defense for years. A young woman from the science delegation grabbed a chair and swung it at a fake guard's legs, knocking him down. Before he could get up, 3 other humans jumped on him. They did not have weapons or armor, but they had numbers and determination. The fake guards were good fighters, but they were confused. Their plan had been to shoot the princess, kill some humans, and escape in the chaos. They had not expected the humans to fight back so hard. They were used to fighting other aliens who followed strict battle rules. Humans did not follow any rules except winning. Marcus felt a 3rd shot burn into his side. His vision was getting blurry, and he tasted blood in his mouth. But Princess Veltara was still alive beneath him, and that gave him strength. He heard her voice more clearly now. She was speaking in her own language, but her tone was urgent and commanding. Suddenly, more Zephyrian guards burst through the main doors. These were real guards from the princess's ship. They carried larger weapons and moved with military precision. The battle turned quickly. The fake guards found themselves trapped between the loyal Zephyrians and the fighting humans. Marcus saw Jake Martinez pop up from behind an overturned table. His partner had a cut on his face, but he was smiling as he fired his pistol at one of the last fake guards. "Stay down, Chen," Jake shouted. "We've got this." The battle lasted only 3 more minutes. The fake guards were either dead or captured. The loyal Zephyrian guards secured the area, while human medics rushed to help the wounded. Marcus tried to stay conscious, but the pain was getting worse. Princess Veltara moved carefully from beneath him. Her beautiful robes were torn and stained with his blood. She looked down at him with those silver eyes. And Marcus saw something he had not expected. She looked amazed, like she had just seen something impossible. "Why?" she asked in perfect English. "Why did you do this?" Marcus tried to answer, but speaking was hard now. "My job," he whispered. "Protect important people. But you do not know me," she said. "I am not your family or your friend. You had no duty to die for me." Marcus managed to smile despite the pain. Did not plan to die. Just doing what's right. The princess stared at him for a long moment. Around the hall, humans and Zephyrians were working together to help the wounded and secure the area. No one was arguing about whose fault the attack was. They were just helping each other. "Remarkable," Princess Veltara whispered. Then she spoke in her own language to one of her guards. The guard looked surprised and argued with her briefly. She spoke again, more firmly, and the guard bowed. The human medics reached Marcus. They had emergency medical equipment and started working on his wounds immediately. One of them, a young woman with steady hands, looked at the princess. "Your Highness, we need to get him to the medical bay right now. These plasma burns are serious." Princess Veltara nodded. "Do whatever you must to save him. Use our medical technology if needed. This human is now under my personal protection." As they lifted Marcus onto a stretcher, he heard President Williams talking to the Zephyrian ship captain. "This was not our fault," the president was saying. "These were not our people." "We know," the captain replied. "We are investigating how our enemies infiltrated the security detail. But I must tell you something important. What we witnessed here today, your people's response to danger, it changes everything." Marcus lost consciousness before he could hear the rest of the conversation. His last thought was that he hoped the attack would not ruin humanity's chance to join the galactic community. He had no idea that his actions had just guaranteed it. Marcus woke up slowly, like swimming up from the bottom of a deep pool. The first thing he noticed was that he was not in pain anymore. The second thing was that someone was holding his hand. He opened his eyes and found himself in a room he had never seen before. The walls were white and smooth, with no visible seams or joints. Strange blue lights moved under the surface like living things. This was definitely not the human medical bay he expected. Princess Veltara sat in a chair beside his bed. She was still holding his hand, studying his face with those silver eyes. When she saw him wake up, she smiled. It was the first time Marcus had seen her really smile, and it changed her whole face. "You are awake," she said. "I was beginning to worry." Marcus tried to sit up and was surprised when he could. His body felt weak but not broken. He looked down at himself and saw that his chest and arms were covered with small silver patches that glowed softly. "How long was I out?" he asked. "3 of your days," Princess Veltara replied. "Our medical technology healed your wounds, but your body needed time to recover from the trauma. You lost a great deal of blood." Marcus remembered the attack in pieces, the fake guards, the purple energy weapons, throwing himself on top of the princess. Did everyone else make it? How many people were hurt? 7 humans were injured, but none died. 2 of my real guards were killed, and we captured 3 of the attackers alive. Her expression grew dark. They were Zephyrian extremists who believe my father is wrong to seek peace with your people. They wanted to kill me and blame humans for my death. "I'm sorry about your guards," Marcus said. "They died protecting you." Princess Veltara squeezed his hand. "They died doing their duty, as they were trained to do. But you..." She paused, searching for words. "What you did was something else entirely." Marcus did not understand the serious look on her face. "I just did my job. Security personnel protect important people. That's what we're paid for. But I am not your people," she said. "You had no bond with me. No family connection. No formal duty. According to your files, you had only learned of my existence a few weeks ago. Yet you chose to die for me." "I didn't choose to die," Marcus said. "I chose to keep you alive. There's a difference." Princess Veltara stared at him for a long moment. "That difference is what has created our problem." Before Marcus could ask what she meant, the door opened. A tall Zephyrian male entered the room. He wore elaborate robes covered with gold symbols, and his presence made the air feel heavier somehow. Marcus could tell immediately that this was someone very important. Princess Veltara stood quickly and bowed. "Father." Marcus tried to sit up straighter. This was the Zephyrian Emperor, ruler of an empire that spanned dozens of star systems. Meeting him in a hospital gown was not how Marcus had imagined this moment. The Emperor studied Marcus with eyes exactly like his daughter's. When he spoke, his voice was deep and commanding. "So this is the human who has caused such trouble in my court." "Trouble?" Marcus asked. Emperor Velkoth moved to stand at the foot of the bed. "Young human, do you understand what you have done?" Marcus looked between the Emperor and the princess. "I stopped some bad people from killing your daughter. Yes, but how you did it matters greatly to my people." The Emperor began pacing slowly around the room. Zephyrians are taught from birth to calculate risk and preserve strategic value. We would die for our empire, our family, or our sworn bonds. But we do not throw our lives away for strangers. "I wouldn't call it throwing my life away," Marcus said. Princess Veltara spoke up. "Father, I have tried to explain our customs to him, but human thinking is very different from ours." The Emperor nodded. "Indeed, Marcus Chen, in my culture, what you did is called Keth Valdor. It means life debt. When someone takes wounds meant for another person, especially mortal wounds, it creates a sacred bond that cannot be broken." Marcus was starting to get a bad feeling about this conversation. What kind of bond? The person who was saved owes their life to the person who saved them, Princess Veltara explained. This debt can only be repaid in 3 ways. The saved person can offer their own life in return. They can adopt the saver into their family as a blood relative. Or, she stopped talking and looked at her father. The Emperor continued for her. Or they can offer marriage alliance, making the saver part of the royal house through marriage bonds. Marcus felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. Marriage? But I don't even know your daughter. We've spoken maybe 10 words to each other. The law does not require love, the Emperor said. It requires honor. You have invoked an ancient code that is older than my empire. Every Zephyrian citizen knows this law. To ignore it would bring shame upon my house and threaten my rule. Princess Veltara sat back down and took Marcus's hand again. I have spent 3 days arguing with the High Council through quantum communication. I searched for any way around this law. But the facts are clear. You took plasma burns meant for me. You nearly died protecting me. The Keth Valdor is absolute. Marcus felt overwhelmed. He had woken up expecting to file a report about the attack and maybe get some time off to recover. Instead, he was being told he had to marry an alien princess because of some ancient law he had never heard of. What if I refuse? He asked. The Emperor's expression grew cold. Refusing the Keth Valdor is the same as rejecting the highest honor my people can offer. It would be seen as an insult to our entire culture. The extremists who tried to kill my daughter would use your rejection as proof that humans cannot be trusted. So I don't really have a choice, Marcus said. Princess Veltara looked uncomfortable. I want you to know that I did not plan this. I never wanted to force anyone into marriage. But the law is the law. And my people take it very seriously. Marcus lay back against his pillow and stared at the ceiling. The blue lights in the walls pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. His whole life had changed because he had done what felt right in the moment. Now he was supposed to marry someone he barely knew and become part of an alien royal family. Can I ask you something? He said to Princess Veltara. Of course. Do you want to marry me? I mean, if this law didn't exist, would you even consider it? She was quiet for a moment. I have been studying your people for many years as part of my diplomatic training. Human behavior fascinates me. Your willingness to sacrifice for others, your ability to adapt to new situations, your creativity in solving problems. These are rare qualities in the galaxy. That's not really an answer, Marcus said. Princess Veltara smiled again. You are direct. I like that. The truth is, I find you interesting. Your actions during the attack showed courage and honor that would impress any Zephyrian warrior. But I also understand that being forced into marriage is not fair to either of us. The Emperor cleared his throat. I will leave you two to discuss this privately. But understand, Marcus Chen, that this decision affects more than just your personal life. The alliance between our peoples depends on how this situation is resolved. After her father left, Princess Veltara moved her chair closer to the bed. I want you to know something important. If you agree to this marriage, it does not have to be a prison. Zephyrian marriage laws are different from human ones. You would have freedom to pursue your interests, travel between worlds, even maintain relationships with your family and friends on Earth. What about love? Marcus asked. Love is not required, she said, but it is also not forbidden. Many Zephyrian marriages begin as political arrangements and grow into something more over time. Others remain respectful partnerships. Both are acceptable. Marcus thought about his parents. His mother and father had been deeply in love until the day his father died in a car accident. Marcus had always hoped to find that kind of connection with someone, but maybe that was asking too much from this impossible situation. I need time to think about this, he said. Princess Veltara nodded. Of course. But do not take too long. The longer this remains unresolved, the more political pressure will build on both sides. She stood to leave, then turned back. Marcus, I want you to know that I am grateful for what you did. Regardless of what you decide now, you saved my life and possibly prevented a war between our peoples. That matters more than any ancient law. After she left, Marcus lay alone in the alien medical bay, staring at the moving lights in the walls and thinking about how his life had gotten so complicated in just 3 days. Marcus was released from the medical bay the next morning, feeling better than he had in years. The Zephyrian healing technology had not just fixed his wounds, it had made his entire body stronger. Scars he had carried since childhood were gone. Old aches from sports injuries had disappeared. He felt like he could run a marathon without getting tired. The first thing he did was call his mother. Colonel Sarah Chen answered her communication device on the first ring. Her face appeared on the screen in Marcus's quarters, and he could see she had been worried. Her usually perfect military posture looked tired. "Marcus, thank God you're alive. I've been watching the news feeds for 4 days straight. They're calling you a hero. But all I cared about was whether you made it." "I'm fine, Mom. Better than fine, actually. Alien medical technology is amazing." Marcus sat down heavily in his chair. "But I need to talk to you about something complicated." He explained the whole situation to his mother. The ancient law, the marriage proposal, the political pressure from both sides. Colonel Chen listened without interrupting, her face growing more serious as he talked. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "Son, this is bigger than just your personal life. I know that. Everyone keeps reminding me. Do you like her? This princess?" Marcus had been asking himself the same question for hours. "I think so. She's smart and honest. She could have lied to me about the law or tried to manipulate me. But she didn't. And she's beautiful, obviously. But I never planned to marry anyone yet, especially not an alien princess. I wanted to travel, maybe start my own security company, figure out who I am before I settled down with someone." His mother smiled. "Marcus, life rarely goes according to plan. I met your father when I was supposed to be focusing on my military career. I thought romance would be a distraction from my goals. Instead, he made everything better. This is different, Mom. This isn't love at first sight. This is political necessity disguised as marriage." Colonel Chen leaned forward. "Let me tell you something about duty, son. Sometimes we get asked to serve in ways we never expected. Sometimes that service requires personal sacrifice, but the best soldiers find ways to make that sacrifice meaningful. You think I should do it? I think you should consider all the angles. This isn't just about you and the princess. If this alliance fails because you rejected their customs, it could affect humanity's entire future in space. But if you accept and make it work, you could help build something important." After the call ended, Marcus walked to his window and looked out at Earth. From the station, his home planet looked small and fragile. Somewhere down there, billions of people were going about their normal lives, not knowing that their future might depend on a decision made by a security guard they had never heard of. A soft chime announced someone at his door. Marcus opened it to find Jake Martinez carrying a bottle of whiskey and wearing a big grin. "Heard you needed some friendly advice," Jake said, pushing past Marcus into the room. "Plus, I wanted to see how the alien doctors put you back together." They sat down and Jake poured 2 glasses of whiskey. "So, you're going to marry a princess. That's not something that happens to security contractors very often." "I haven't decided yet," Marcus said. "Right. Let me ask you this. What's the worst thing that could happen if you say yes?" Marcus thought about it. "I guess I could end up miserable in a marriage with someone I don't love, living on an alien world where I don't understand the culture." "And what's the worst thing that happens if you say no?" "The alliance between humans and Zephyrians falls apart. The extremists who tried to kill the princess gain power. Humanity gets shut out of galactic civilization. Or worse, marked as enemies." Jake whistled softly. "When you put it that way, it's not much of a choice, is it? That's what's bothering me. I feel like I'm being forced into this because of politics and ancient laws. Where's my freedom to choose my own life?" Jake poured another round. "Marcus, you chose your life the moment you tackled that princess. You chose to be the kind of person who protects others, even strangers. Now you get to choose whether you follow that decision through to the end." The next morning, Marcus received a formal invitation to attend a ceremony in the main hall. When he arrived, he found the entire diplomatic delegation assembled. Humans and Zephyrians stood together in groups, talking quietly. Everyone turned to look at him as he entered. Princess Veltara stood at the front of the room wearing ceremonial robes that seemed to be made of liquid silver. Behind her stood Emperor Velkoth and the entire Zephyrian High Council. They had come all this way from their homeworld just for this moment. President Williams approached Marcus. "Son, I want you to know that whatever you decide, humanity respects your choice. You've already done more for our species than anyone had the right to ask." "Thank you, sir," Marcus said. "But I think we both know there's only one choice I can really make." The president nodded sadly. "I'm sorry it has to be this way." Princess Veltara stepped forward. In her hands, she carried an ornate crystal that glowed with soft blue light. "Marcus Chen, by the ancient laws of my people, I offer you the Keth Valdor bond. Will you accept marriage alliance with House Kethmore and become part of the royal family of the Zephyrian Empire?" Marcus looked around the room at all the faces watching him. Diplomats, security personnel, alien nobles, his friends and colleagues. Everyone was waiting for his answer. The weight of their expectations felt heavier than the plasma burns he had taken. But then he looked at Princess Veltara's face, and something in her expression made his decision easier. She looked nervous. This powerful alien princess who commanded fleets and negotiated with galactic empires was nervous about his answer. She wanted him to say yes, not just because of politics, but because she genuinely hoped they could make this work. "I have conditions," Marcus said. The room went completely silent. Several of the Zephyrian nobles looked shocked. Apparently, making demands when offered royal marriage was not normal. Princess Veltara raised an eyebrow. "What conditions?" "First, I want a trial period. 6 months on your world to learn your culture and see if I can adapt. If it doesn't work out, we part as friends with no shame to either side." The emperor started to object, but Princess Veltara held up a hand to stop him. "Agreed. What else?" "Second, I want to spend time on Earth too. If I'm going to represent humanity in your empire, I need to stay connected to my own people." "That seems reasonable. Continue." Marcus took a deep breath. "Third, I want honesty between us. No political games. No pretending to feel things we don't feel. If this is going to work, it has to be built on truth." Princess Veltara smiled. "I would have been disappointed if you had wanted anything less. Do you have more conditions?" "Just one. I want to keep doing security work, not just ceremonial guard duty, but real protection for people who need it. That's who I am. And I don't want to lose that." "You want to be a working royal," she said. "That is unusual, but not forbidden." "Very well. I accept all your conditions." She held out the crystal to him. "Now, Marcus Chen, will you accept the Keth Valdor bond?" Marcus reached out and took the crystal. The moment his fingers touched it, the crystal flared with brilliant light that filled the entire room. When the light faded, the crystal had changed color from blue to gold. "The bond is accepted," Emperor Velkoth announced. "Let the marriage preparations begin." As the room erupted in cheers and applause, Princess Veltara stepped close to Marcus. "I promise I will do everything I can to make you happy with this choice." "Same here," Marcus said. "I guess we're really doing this." She smiled. "We are really doing this." "And Marcus?" "Yes? You can call me Veltara now. We are going to be married. After all." Marcus laughed. "Okay, Veltara. When do we start planning the most complicated wedding in human history?" "Tomorrow," she said. "Today, we celebrate surviving the first step." Looking around at the happy faces of humans and aliens working together, Marcus thought that maybe, just maybe, this crazy situation might actually work out. He had chosen to protect a stranger, and now he was going to marry her. Life was definitely stranger than any movie he had ever seen. But as his mother had taught him, sometimes the most important choices were the ones you made without knowing where they would lead. The wedding took place 3 weeks later, in the most beautiful ceremony Marcus had ever seen. The main hall of the station was transformed into something magical. Human flowers were mixed with glowing Zephyrian crystals. Earth's sun shone through the great windows while Zephyrian ships created patterns of colored light in space outside. Marcus wore a formal military dress uniform that his mother had shipped up from Earth. It felt right to honor his family's tradition of service on this day. Veltara wore flowing robes that changed color as she moved, shifting from silver to gold, to deep blue like a living rainbow. The ceremony itself was a blend of both cultures. President Williams performed the human marriage rites, speaking about love, commitment, and partnership. Emperor Velkoth conducted the Zephyrian bonding ritual, which involved sharing a drink from an ancient cup while speaking promises in both languages. Marcus's mother stood in the front row, proud and tearful. She had flown up to the station specifically for the wedding, despite her fear of space travel. Seeing her there gave Marcus strength during the emotional ceremony. When it came time for vows, Marcus spoke from his heart. Veltara, I promise to honor the trust you've placed in me. I promise to learn your ways while staying true to my own. I promise to protect you, not because ancient law demands it, but because you are worth protecting. Veltara's vows were equally honest. Marcus, I promise to help you find your place in my world while respecting the world you came from. I promise to be your partner in all things, not your ruler or your subject. I promise to build something new with you that honors both our peoples. As they exchanged rings, Marcus felt something he had not expected. Hope. This had started as duty and political necessity, but it was becoming something real. He looked at Veltara and saw not just an alien princess, but a strong, intelligent woman who was taking the same leap of faith he was. The celebration afterward was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Human musicians played alongside Zephyrian sound artists. Earth wine was served with exotic drinks from across the galaxy. Diplomats from both worlds danced to music that mixed jazz with alien harmonies that sounded like singing crystals. Marcus watched it all and realized this was more than just his wedding. This was the birth of something entirely new. Humans and aliens were not just making treaties. They were becoming family. During the reception, Jake Martinez pulled Marcus aside. So how does it feel to be married to royalty? Terrifying and exciting at the same time, Marcus admitted. Ask me again in 6 months, and I'll have a better answer. I'm proud of you, man. You took a bad situation and made something good out of it. Marcus looked across the room at Veltara, who was talking with his mother and laughing at something Colonel Chen had said. I think we both did. Later that evening, as the celebration wound down, Marcus and Veltara found themselves alone on the observation deck. Earth turned slowly below them, beautiful and peaceful in the starlight. Any regrets? Veltara asked. Not yet, Marcus said. You? None at all. Though I should warn you, life in the Zephyrian Empire will be very different from anything you've experienced. Marcus smiled. Good. I was getting bored with normal life anyway. A soft chime from Veltara's communication device interrupted them. She checked the message and her eyes widened. Marcus, you need to see this. The message was from the Galactic Council, a group of alien civilizations that Marcus had only heard rumors about. They had been watching the events at the diplomatic station with great interest. The marriage between a human and a Zephyrian princess, they said, demonstrated exactly the kind of adaptability and cross-species cooperation they were looking for. 3 other alien civilizations wanted to open diplomatic relations with humanity. They had been testing Earth for years, waiting to see if humans could work with other species. Marcus's actions during the attack, and the successful marriage alliance that followed, had convinced them that humans were ready for a larger role in galactic civilization. Your wedding just opened the door to half the galaxy, Veltara said, amazed. Our wedding, Marcus corrected. We did this together. Over the following weeks, as they prepared to travel to the Zephyrian homeworld, Marcus learned more about his new responsibilities. As Veltara's husband, he would become a cultural ambassador, helping to build understanding between humans and Zephyrians. It was exactly the kind of work he had always wanted to do, even if he had never imagined it happening this way. The night before they left for Zephyr Prime, Marcus had one last conversation with his mother. She was returning to Earth in the morning, but they both knew this was not goodbye forever. You've grown up a lot in the past month, Colonel Chen said. I had to. The universe got a lot bigger all of a sudden. Your father would be proud of you. He always said you had the heart of a protector. Marcus hugged his mother tightly. I love you, Mom. Thank you for teaching me to do what's right, even when it's scary. Armanam. Armanam. To ride. That's what family does, son. And now you're starting a family of your own. The journey to Zephyr Prime took 2 weeks aboard the fastest ship in the Zephyrian fleet. Marcus spent the time learning the language, studying the culture, and getting to know Veltara better. Every day, he discovered something new about her. She was funnier than he had expected, more curious about human culture than her formal manner suggested, and surprisingly good at the card games he taught her. By the time they reached Zephyr Prime, Marcus was beginning to understand that they might actually build a real marriage together. It would not be the romance his parents had shared, at least not at first, but it could be something just as valuable, a partnership based on respect, shared goals, and growing affection. The Zephyrian homeworld was breathtaking. Crystal cities rose from purple mountains under a double sun. Flying vehicles moved silently between towers that looked like they had grown from the ground rather than been built. Everything was elegant and purposeful, reflecting the Zephyrian love of beauty and efficiency. Marcus's arrival caused quite a stir. He was the first human to set foot on Zephyr Prime, and crowds gathered to see the alien prince who had married their princess. Most seemed curious rather than hostile, which Marcus took as a good sign. The imperial palace was a maze of crystal corridors and floating gardens. Marcus's quarters were larger than the apartment he had grown up in, with windows that offered views of the entire capital city. Veltara's rooms were connected to his by a private garden where they could walk and talk away from the formal protocols of court life. On his third day on Zephyr Prime, Marcus received a message that changed everything. The Galactic Council had officially invited humanity to join as a junior member species. It was unprecedented for a civilization to be offered membership so quickly, but the successful integration of Marcus into Zephyrian society had impressed the other member species. You realize what this means? Veltara asked as they read the invitation together. It means I made the right choice, Marcus said. It means we made the right choice. She smiled and took his hand. It means the universe just got very interesting for both our peoples. Marcus looked out at the alien city below, thinking about how much his life had changed in just 2 months. He had gone from being a security guard on a space station to being a prince of an interstellar empire. He had married an alien princess and helped open the doors to galactic civilization for all humanity. It was not the life he had planned, but it was a good life, and as he watched the double suns set over the crystal spires of Zephyr Prime, Marcus realized that sometimes the best adventures were the ones you never saw coming. Veltara squeezed his hand. Ready for whatever comes next? Marcus squeezed back. With you? I think I'm ready for anything. Above them, the first human diplomatic ship was approaching Zephyr Prime, carrying delegates who would help establish the new alliance. Marcus would be there to greet them, serving as a bridge between his old world and his new one. The future was full of possibilities. And for the first time since he woke up in that alien medical bay, Marcus Chen was excited to discover what they might be.